Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Who's in Brazil? Good evening. Who's in Finland? And maybe there are people watching us from many other places in the world. We are gonna know this soon. So I am Max. I'm the facilitative leader of AprenDi, diagonal learning, and then I'm really happy that we have here Maarit Rossi, and I'm gonna bring her to the screen and I'll introduce her, uh, and then we're gonna start this lovely day talking together. So here you guys can already see Maarit. First time I met Maarit was 2 years ago in 2018. She came for the international seminar on math. She's an amazing teacher, very creative teacher. She has been teaching math for more than 30 years, and that's why she was recognized as a finalist of the Global Teacher Prize in 2016, if I'm right. And then, well, we brought her here today. She's not only with math. She has done all the things that she's gonna talk to us. And I'm already advise you guys to start posing questions in the chat. We're gonna start talking here very soon. But I have talked previously with Maarit, and I want you guys to ask all the questions from sky to land, as Maarit has said. But before that, I want to bring the word, open the word for Maarit, so she can have her opening speech and also say hello to all of us while people are coming, right, to connecting to YouTube to watch us. Thank you, Maarit, for being with us today.
Thank you, Max. It's such a pleasure and honor to talk with you. And I'm very pleased to meet people around the world and tell something about first my day. Actually, today I was walking on the sea. How it is possible? It's possible because it's frozen. It's now here a winter. And we really enjoy about the winter. We Finnish people. There were thousands of people on the sea, on the ice. They were skating, skiing, walking, bicycling, so different funny styles. And they promised tomorrow a good day again. So I will go there maybe skating. So that's about the funny day of today. Otherwise, I'm a passionate math teacher, like Max told. And even I'm retired. I continue because I have seen around the world how math is taught like 100 years ago. And the world have changed. And the children have so much possibilities. And it's really sad if they don't find their how fantastic the math can be and how it helps you to think and solve the problems. So that's the short version, of myself. I'm traveling. Before the COVID, I was traveling around, like Max told, east and west, north and south. And I have seen so many different education places. And I have seen that we are doing quite differently it in Finland.
We have well 9 people watching us live now. Me and Maarit, we teach in an interactive way. We found this tool, right, to do a live so we can reach more people, but we like to interact. And then if I pronounce Sally already sent a message here, and thanks, Sally. If I can call you like this, it's a pleasure to watch this conversation with you, Maarit. Maybe you know her personally, I guess. And then I would like to ask, so we can start using the chat. So there's 9 people that are watching us live. Can you guys use the chat and tell the city and the country the country you guys are watching this live. And then let's see if we are in Brazil, in Finland, or maybe we're surprised. Maybe there are people from other places as well watching us. And how are you feeling today, Maarit? We didn't talk about feelings yet. How are you feeling about this, about being live and I don't know, the challenges we are facing? Not talking about education yet, but personal challenge of COVID and isolation and things like this. How are you feeling?
Um, First off, I'm very excited about this possibility to talk. And actually, in Finland, the COVID situation is not so bad than it seems to be in many countries. The schools were closed last spring only 2 months, and we opened them again in mid-May. Then there was a summer holiday, and then we started again. And then when I was a principal, I started to develop the technology in the school. So actually, I think most of the students in Finland could be online. So there was no long ways to be out. And now in the autumn, if there were some corona cases, they may be closed one classroom or maybe one school for a moment, but then they continued again face to face, which is of course the best possible. And I think even here in Finland, there is a little isolation. We are not allowed to meet more than 10 people. They hope that we take the distance all the time. We use the mask when we go to the shops, but because we have a huge nature, like today, I didn't use mask when I was walking on the sea because the distances are so big. But still, they have recognized that young people have little mental problems because for them, it's most important to be together. Like I say always, why students come to school? Because of the other students. They are not thinking the subjects and learning first. They are thinking their friends. And now if they are isolated for a long time, it is hard for them. I think more hard than for us. I'm sure even we adults are missing our friends. So this is not easy time. But we are managing and we have to be positive. This will be over.
Well, we hope that soon as well. We have some messages here on the chat. When we do this live, there is a delay. So we know that when we ask, it takes some seconds for you guys to receive the message. And when you guys write the message, it takes some time for us to receive as well. And then, but we got some messages here from Georgiana Mihut. It's very nice to have her here. She's a master classmate. I did my master's in education in Finland, and Georgiana studied with me, but now she's in Ireland. We have some people from Brazil, many states, Rio de Janeiro, Recife, São Paulo. And then this is just a, let's say, warm-up way to use the chat. And then please bring questions, all kinds of questions. And then maybe we can start with blocks, otherwise we get a bit chaotic, right? And then first block of question would be the Finnish culture and how the Finnish culture is an important factor in explaining in some way the success of the Finnish education and the international recognition. Of course, I'm talking about PISA, right? The international evaluation of students that are 15 years old. And then, of course, there are some countries nowadays that are performing better than Finland. Finland was the first one in the beginning of the century, the millennium, actually. But the way Finns achieve this amazing result is surprising, right? So maybe I can bring this question already to Maarit. Isn't it true that the things, they love school. They really enjoy being in school. They really enjoy learning. It's not a pain to go to school. Is that true, Maarit? That's what I have heard from many voices, and then I can start with this question. Then there's another question as well from the chat for you.
I think there are many reasons why we have been successful in PISA, and it is for me easier to understand because I have been traveling in different places. For example, PISA make a research about the learning time. If we think about 15 years old student in Finland, they use about 36 hours for learning. So it means that they are in the school 30 hours and maybe 6 hours they are doing homework. So quite little for whole week, 6 hours homework. Then when we compare it to China, they are using learning time about 55 hours a week. Of course, if you are sitting and sitting and sitting in the school and after school, maybe they get a little bit more points. And also we are very critical. We are having this PISA research covering all Finland. So they are choosing randomly the schools. But in China, they are choosing certain cities. So that can be explanation of the points. Then what others are very exciting is the autonomy of the teachers. When I'm traveling around the world, very often teachers has to make lesson plans, even they have been teaching for a long time. We don't have to make lesson plans. We have master's degree in our subjects, and we have autonomy to design the lesson. So it can be different in different classrooms depending on the children. Then what is very important, the education is free. When I'm again traveling in many, many countries, there are two systems. There are schools which are public schools, and then there are schools of private schools. So the quality of the education is very huge when our quality is it is quite same. So you don't have to be afraid if you move to different city, the education is good also there. So the free, the autonomy, and of course the pedagogy. The pedagogy is very different from others. So when I'm looking and visiting classrooms in different countries, and I have been really in many countries, very often the students are passive learners. Passive learners mean that they are sitting in the classroom, teacher is making some question, and they maybe put their hands up and they have one answer. We are really putting a lot of attention. I think I have worked more than 30 years to make learning more active so that the students are active learners. And I think that is very basic also, that they can be more creative because they have time, they have space to solve their problems themselves. We take attention to the process, not to the answer. So they have possibility to talk with each other during the lesson. They are probably sitting not in the one way, they are sitting in groups. And when they are sitting in groups, you can make individual work, you can make pair work, you can make group work. And they are fascinating when you go to visit to the Finnish school. Maybe you see how they are working. So they are a group of 4, maybe there are 5 tables. In different tables, you have different tasks, and the students are moving from the table to table, and they are talking, they are solving, they are not sitting in the lines and teacher is talking. So I think this is really big difference of the pedagogy compared of the other countries.
I have a question here for you, Sally, Maarit from Salesi. So she posed other question, then I'll combine them. To make it even more narrow, you were talking about active learning, and she wanted to know more specificities of the Finnish education. And then I asked her which level. And then it would be nice. And then we have the question. If she talked a little about each one, it would be perfect. So here's the question for you, Maarit. Can you give some examples from the early childhood education, how the Finnish is already influencing students to become more active in the learning process? And then I'll just frame like this, and then I'll ask the other levels as well for you to keep with examples. Okay?
Okay, I try. I have been teaching my most career on the middle school, and then when I get retired, I went to teach a little bit the 5th and 6th graders, and then I have been teaching a little bit high school and then also university teachers. So I try to make a couple of examples. For the very tiny ones, actually, in Finland, the children go preschool 6 years old and school 7 years old. So they go later than in many countries. Many countries, they put children earlier. For us, it is important that when they are in kindergarten and preschool, that they have time to play. So play has a big role. In the kindergarten, they have a sleeping time, they learn to eat, and then they are playing. So I have been visiting in this kind of preschool, and it's very fascinating that they have a timetable like pictures, what we are doing today, maybe playing outdoors. In many countries, they keep children inside. In Finland, part of the learning happens outside every day. Okay, I go to the 1st grade, so they are about 7 years. We hope that they know numbers and maybe the letters, but they don't have to read yet. Depending on the child and the family, maybe somebody is reading or somebody is counting a little bit. But I saw one lesson was very nice. There were 1st grade students, and when I went to the classroom, there were selling and buying. There were tiny shops, and then they have play money, not real one. So that was like teacher give 10 euros to each students, and then there were little cards, and it was reading a cat paying maybe 2 euros. And there were those selling points, maybe 3, because there were 20 children, and then half of the children have money, and then they went to buy different things, what they wanted. So they have to understand the basic numbers under the 10, they make buying, and the other ones have to give a right money back. So we without teaching, they have to somehow manage. If the classmate bought a cat of 2 euros, that if he had 10 euros, what he will give back? Maybe he have only 5 euros. So, and when they have all the bought, they went to the teacher and they said, I want more money because I want to pay more. So the teacher have two what you call with the numbers. What is the name in English when you have a cube with the numbers 1 to 6? How you call it? You throw the cube. And then then the teacher asked that if you can count these numbers which you throw together, that's the amount of money I will get you. So the teacher was like a bank. And then they changed the roles. They changed the roles. Their sellers come the buyers, and they enjoyed. You could see every second everybody was learning. There was nobody wondering what's going on. They were really enjoying. So this was example of what first grade.
First grade, yes. I think when I think about early education, we would find lots of examples worldwide how to make it playful and enjoyable. And then when students start getting older, then this becomes more rarer and more difficult, right? And then you have experiences, most of your experiences in the middle school, which is around 10 years old, right? Around 10 years old.
Middle school, 11, 15 years. That's my area. All
okay,
right.
11, 15.
I will.
Give examples of how you taught then in a creative way, maybe even math. You want to bring some examples, and I invite participants to ask more questions in the chat if you already have. Maybe you still want to learn more, and then they start posing more questions here, and then I'll bring to you, Maarit.
I saw an article that somebody wrote about active learning and have an example of how to teach surface area and the name of their surface area. But also that example, the teacher said what is the triangle and what is the square and rectangle. So that's not a good start if the teacher is telling it. Actually, you could do it so that you got a lot of different shapes of different colors, different shapes, and then you ask the student that can you classify them? And you have to think that they have some quality, why you classify them in the same group. And I have done similar things also when I'm training teachers. So I have had different colors, and mostly I have had for teachers, and also my students do it even better than the teachers. I have different kind of triangles. And then I ask teachers also, can you classify these triangles on certain qualification what they have? And first answer can be that they classify them on the basis of the color. And I said, that's okay, that's great, the color, but let's try to find some more mathematical. And that is how it's very old thing, but you have to teach it so that the students are thinking why we call this a right triangle. So they have to find the ideas why these are belonging in the same group, and then they remember it. It's not only that it's remembering the names. It's very important that they find the qualities why these triangles belong together. Then I could ask audience there to think that I give this A4 paper, for example, and I said that cut as big triangle as you can. As big as you can. Okay. Then I tell that the students and the teachers, they have different kind of solutions, but then there are students who go to, of course, they can use everything what is in the classroom. And then actually they cut their paper through the diagonal and they find somewhere a tape. And that's, they use the whole paper. But only maybe 10% of the students will find this. But then there are students who amaze me. They make such different cuttings that only maybe one person will find. So they can be very creative when you give the possibility to them. And active learning is that they want to find solution. They want to be not the teacher giving the answers. So this is from the basic mathematics. Then one very nice example is, for example, again, a basic mathematics, that when I get students from the 7th grade and we are talking about the circles, they said, I know about the circle, I know about the pi, or how you pronounce it. And I said, what it means? It means 3.14. But I said, what it means? And they don't know what it means. It's only a word, but they don't understand what it is. So how we do it? Again, so that it is active learning. I collect different kind of solids, which has a round place, and actually they measure their circumference and diameter. And then I said that now we look the ratio from different kind of solids, and they make a table. This is a process. Making a table is not easy to everybody, not even the adults. They go to different tables, make the measurements of all the solids where they find the round shape, the circumference and the diameter. And they find 3.14. And I said, this is the ratio we call as a P. And then I said, let's go out and make a huge circle. How to make a huge circle? Even we can go in the winter to make the circles with the color water. But of course, it's easier in the spring and autumn. And you can even make it in the hall with their pencil, which you can clean away. But even that, they have a rope and they have to draw a circle, a huge circle. It's not easy. And the different groups made different sizes. And then I said that you can't use anymore the metric. How you measure it? How you measure it? So they understand, okay, that they can use their shoe. So with the shoe, they again measure the circumference of the big circle and the diameter. And they find again the same ratio. That's the powerful finding for them. But it's now different. They are finding it. They are solving it. It's not like a teacher on the blackboard telling it. And I think they will remember it forever.
I'm sure they will remember it forever, because there was even some studies, like if the brain needs to get some kind of emotion to learn, right? So when the brain means you also involve the body of the kid. But one thing, when I was listening, you giving these two examples was. I'll try to connect in my mind, and then you say if that's the one of the reasons. So there is patience. There's a lot of patience in the way you taught math. It's not like when you design something in the blackboard, and then you say this is a triangle, blah blah blah. It's very quick, and the way you taught, it takes much more time. So it demands not only patience but also the autonomy, right? You were saying previously. So I have the autonomy to decide the best way to teach, and the best way to teach, sometimes, and maybe many times, it's slow. To wait, to achieve to find the solution instead of giving a solution.
You are totally right. The positive feeling, that's, I think, the key question, that if the students, when they are learning, get the positive feeling, but if they are afraid that they say something wrong, if the only interaction in the classroom is that students are saying answers, they get afraid that they get a wrong answer. But when they are working this way, they are not getting afraid. They are enjoying. they have good memories. And then there actually comes the need. There comes I'm growing up, the need that they want to learn. And of course, there are teachers who said that I have so much the curriculum, I can't cover. And it's nonsense. If you are covering 300 pages, it's only the teacher who is covering maybe it. You don't know what's happening in the heads of the student. So actually, I think what Finland made very clever about, I think 30 years ago, we took something away from their curriculum which was not so important in that level. And then we have space to do differently. And you have to remember that still we have maybe one of the shortest school days in the world. And I think then it's very important what is happening in the school, what is the spirit of the school, what is the atmosphere in the classroom, and then how we also differ. We have nice breaks between the lessons. So they go to their out and they play. If they didn't play enough in the lesson, they play themselves. But of course, I have to say that in math, there are also lessons where I am in front. If they have found it something, I have to maybe set it more mathematical way, and maybe I have to combine their solutions, what they have found. And actually, it is important that they are versatile lessons. If it's only boring, there comes negative feelings. It comes like a teacher's math. It's not they math. So that is important. It has to be they math. The world is full of exciting things. Why they would come to the museum? If the school is museum, that's bad for the whole society.
Agree. But before I bring one question of one of the participants, summarize what you just said that I really appreciate that already came, was this, that you're not saying that we have to avoid completely the traditional education, like when a teacher the class and then teaching. The problem is it's if this is the only way, and it has to be versatile. What it means, it could be like a class that's traditional, and then the other class is interesting, and then the student is even curious with the traditional one because it's rare. It's not the only one, right? And also this point that you mentioned, we have it in Brazil, I guess in many countries, this break between classes. This is so important, right? 10 minutes, 15 minutes between classes, so the students can rest their minds, they can interact. Maybe they talk about the subject, create questions, try to understand the subject, or they just interact. That's why they were people, right? We like to interact. It's not only class. Okay, then I'll bring a question, very interesting question from Georgiana. I'll put it on the screen, and then Maarit. It's about teachers. Maarit, the teaching profession is very respected in Finland. What are your suggestions on how appreciation for teachers can increase in other contexts?
And now in this other context, what it means? Can you help me? What is the other context?
Other countries, I would guess. It's going to take some time for her to type for us, but I think she believes other countries where, for instance, where teachers are not in high status. For instance, in Brazil, which professions are the higher status? Judges, doctors, and engineers, maybe. But teachers are not in the highest position in society. And in Finland, it is, right? A lot. The best students, they want to become teachers in Finland. That's not the case in many other. But what are your suggestions to increase the appreciation for teachers? And that's the point of Georgiana.
It's a very good question and very hard question. I hope that this corona really now shows to the societies who don't respect teachers enough that they are really in a big problems, even how to put in order after the corona the situation. I will guess that there are now teachers who are unemployed in many countries because there were not online lessons, how they get them back. Then there are the societies that are very far away now from what they have been. Then there will be students with mental problems because of this corona. I think that, and I hope in my heart, that this corona really shows that the teachers and the school system is one of the strongest elements in the society. How to grow up the next generation to work for the society. I think in other countries, maybe they don't have teacher unions that could make now work. They have to make noise. They have to write articles. And this is very political, I think. If the politician leaders don't understand how important the teachers are, it's really hard to change it. In Finland, I think we had this, that it was 1970 when the politician, we had also private schools. When I was a young middle school student, I was in the private school. So in that time, the politician understood that we are a small nation. We can't lose half of their population. Everybody has to have a good education. It's only way how we can manage in the world, because we have only forest. We don't have oil. We don't have coal. We have only forest and the knowledge. And that's when they decided that the public school is to everybody. And there were politicians against it, but this group of politicians were so powerful that the public school came 1972 to everybody. And I think that's the basic of our PISA success. We don't leave nobody really behind. And I hope that also the new generation, now when it's free, understand. Of course, we understood it very well, because my generation, my mother has to go to works to pay the school the fee, and it was really hard. So the next generation didn't have to do. And I hope that still in Finland we appreciate a high education, because still we don't have oil or cars or coal. Only thing what we can do is the knowledge which we are selling. And it's the base of, but this is hard question. I only know that the individual teacher, when you are a good, I'm sure that the parents respect you. But if your leaders don't respect the school, it's a big problem.
I'm waiting here for more questions, and then I have some. I have two interesting topics for you to talk. One thing that everyone that has the experience to live in Finland has this contact with the culture, and I'm wondering. I'm not sure if it matters the cause and consequence in a way of this presumption of honesty that we have in Finland, and then teachers can treat and do treat students in a very humane way. They don't just trust students, and they don't try to do other. And then could you bring maybe the roots of this, and maybe the roots are even broader than education. why Finland is somehow like a welfare society, and there is this presumption of honesty, not only between Finns, but everybody that lives in Finland receives this honesty. Wasn't very clear, but like even if you are from abroad and you are there, people trust you. It's not only because you're Finn; they trust humans, right? So
yes, when I have had visitors in Finland, and for example, they have forget their money pocket somewhere, they are so amazed when they go back to the place and the money is still waiting there. Nobody has took it. That's, I think, nice example that you can trust. And for example, sometimes I forget the door open in the night, so it's not locked. So it's very safety here. And maybe one example, I have a professor, my friend from Mexico, and he came to make research about Finnish education, and he stayed over my house maybe 1 month, and then he went with a train to Helsinki. And then 1 week he said to me that, Maarit, it was raining last time, and I understand that people don't talk, but now it has been a nice weather, and the same people are coming in the same train in the same time, but they don't talk. So we are very silent people too. And it don't mean that we wouldn't respect, but I think it is because this is quite big country compared of the population, and we have a lot of forest. So our history is that we have ruled over the Swedish, we have been ruled over the Russian. We have been independent only 100 years, a little bit more. So, and we have lived in the forests. So we have not been living in the big cities where people are near. So I think it's in our genetic. We really like to be at distance. But of course we like to have friends and talk, but not easily with the persons we don't know. So maybe we look even a little bit unpolite because we don't know a nice small talk. When we talk, we want to talk facts. And I think the reason of the success in the school is also because the respect. Parents are respecting teachers. Some parents say that we know what you are doing and we respect you. And maybe we are respecting also our system. So if something have to be happened, we know that it happens. There are different parties, all the parties are working in same direction. So the system is, I think when people come here, they are wondering how the system works. For example, I'm shocked if the bus is not 6:05 if I want that the bus is in bus stop 6:05. It is like a clock there.
mhm. I have questions here. Very interesting. I think maybe I never asked you this, and then I'm curious to hear. It's in Portuguese, so I'll translate. Okay. This one is connected with the other one. Okay, so I'll translate already. I won't read in Portuguese. So the question is, it's for you, Maarit. What symptoms you observe and you identify on someone that has learned, that really learned something? So do you identify happiness, smiles, will, movements? That's what she asked. How do you identify that someone has really learned something?
Nice question. Yes, I think you can see it. You can see there from motivation, how motivated they are. That their small children can even say, what shall we do next lesson? And then maybe you can see it. For example, when I have on their 5th grades, I have their metric system, and we learned about their length and area and the volumes. So when we had the volumes, we built a cubic meter. So we have sticks of 1 meter, and the students were building it. So the parents call me that they were children discussing to them in the home that, mother, now I really understood what is the cubic meter. So there are a lot of different things where you can see it. And of course, when you make some tests, maybe that is now one big difference also from other countries. In many countries, they have huge national tests. Some countries, they are even putting the teachers in order. And in some countries, depending on the national test, it is like what will happen to the future of the child. We have only one national test, and it's if I think first the basic school from the grades 1 to 9, we have some national tests, but they are some municipality voluntary. So the state only want to know what is the level of their languages of math. How I give their assessment to the student is based on what is happening in the classroom, and I can keep my test in math. I can keep with my colleagues the test, but it is inside the school. We are not comparing the schools between each others. So we are making tests inside the school. And of course, I'm not doing only paper tests, because if they are learning differently, they are also different kind of assessment. Maybe because I said that the process is more important than the answer. So we have some ways that the students are peer assessing or assessing themselves, or a group is assessing how well they work. So we have different assessment things. And what I used in the 9th grade, I used portfolio. So they were collecting 3 years different kind of math works, like project works also, bigger ones. And in the end of the 9th grade, I said that pick up a work which you really like. And so I could really see how deep is the learning. Maybe the student took something from the 8th grade, and I asked something and he could totally explain it to me. I, for example, remember one boy who was not very good in math, but he picked up the work where was about formula. So in the functions, he make research of different formula they have the names, are they in Dubai or where? And then he make their X and Y axle, and he make what looks their function of the speed and the place where the car is in their way. And he really understands so well. And then, of course, I can ask what was the most difficult. And if there's something I can still help the student, okay, this was difficult, I explain it to you again, or we do something again. Do you now understand it? And the other ones are working in the classroom, and I'm privately talking one student at the time. So instead of early years when I was a young teacher, of course, I wanted to cover all the pages at the same time than other teachers, but it was only information for me. Now, when I have and all in Finland, we have changed the teaching more active learning. I think we really understand what the student have learned and what not. And also we have a lot of research that what age it is good to teach this and this. In many countries, I have noticed that they teach too early, too young.
Mhm.
And that makes also the negative feeling that you are teaching something which is impossible for them to understand. And sometimes it's very useless also.
Agree. I have a question here. Then I'll bring another one from Alessandra about well, I'll bring the other one, then I'll bring the one Alessandra. This one's from Fernanda Araújo. Are teachers submitted to periodic evaluation in Finland? I wonder how the Finnish system ensures teacher quality. You were talking already about this, but then you can bring more specific to this. Why Finland trusts teachers instead of evaluating them?
First, about the periodic evaluation, if I understood right, in some schools we have 6 periods, and I explain why. In many countries, they have only 1 week table program, and this is repeating all the weeks, all the year. But it means that you have many subjects and only 1 hour at the time. It's very cut. So we begin make periods, 4 periods, 6 periods, it depending on the school. And it means that maybe in the one period, we are learning English and Swedish mostly. So maybe in one period there is only English and not Swedish, but there is a lot of English. So there is maybe all the English during that time of what early were in 6 weeks, maybe they are now all in the 3 weeks. And then the next period comes the other language, and then we take the other one away. Of course, when we started this, the teacher said that how you can put mathematics in the periods. It means that there are moments that you don't teach mathematics, but then there are moments that you teach more. And then I make a question. What happens in the summertime? If we give them with these longer periods, there are less subjects, but more lessons, more time to concentrate, better to understand, and use versatile methods. How you use versatile methods if you have only 45 minutes? So when I was a principal, all the subjects were in 2 hours combined. I hope I understood the period. Then the next question was about the quality of the teachers.
It was another question. So I'll frame it again. I'll frame what you said because it's really important, and then I'll frame again the question. What you just answered was this. It's really interesting about film. It's like it's. I think it has to do with the really observing. Maybe it's because of this culture of silence, and when you are silent, you observe more, and then you observe how humans react to something, and then you have to change for something to make sense. For instance, it didn't make sense classes of 45 minutes because it was a rush. And then, okay, let's combine and then have 2 hours, but then we don't have a lot of subjects. Okay, then we have blocks. Sometimes we have the subject, sometimes we don't have. And then the problem was solved. There was enough time for the teacher to create something interactive and then really the student should have the time to be in contact with the topic and the subject. But then the question was something else. But this is really important. I didn't know that either, the solution you guys found for this. The question was regarding evaluation of teachers.
Teachers evaluation.
Because, yeah, I'm trying to understand. And Fernanda, you can type again. Maybe she thought the teachers are so qualified that they have been evaluated many times.
Nobody evaluates us.
Yeah, that's not the case. So maybe you can say that again, and then teachers are allowed to understand that then I can try to answer as well. It's the investment in education when you are preparing someone to become a teacher That's the most important. After they become a teacher, you have to offer the environment, right, for them to be good teachers, not evaluate them if they are good or not. And
Yes, like I mentioned in the beginning, everybody has a master's degree. Even the kindergarten, there has to be one teacher with a master's degree. So all at the levels, we have very educated teachers, and then including this is also that before we go to our work, we are working in their normaalikoulu school near the university, so that we also learn how to teach and how to evaluate, how to make research, how we are interested about research, what's happening. Maybe we make some small research in the classroom because we have got such an education. And when we go to the school, nobody evaluate us anymore, because we have quality. There is no need that we are evaluated.
we have lots of questions here. I'm very happy. So I'll bring one, two, three. Let's see. Wait. Bring this one is about technology. That's nice. I'll bring it to the screen. So it's from Randolph Julião. Could you mention if you are using some technology tools, resources like Khan Academy, Raspberry Pi, the little computer created for education, the makers, hobbies community, etc. So what kind of technology is Finland using in education?
Okay. When I started as a principal, 1999, the first thing I wanted to have computers in the class, in the school. And it was very modern. Of course, it's more than 20 years ago. Because and nowadays it's very common that every school have computers, and how we are connected to the parents. We use programs, for example, that in the end of the lesson we can put the teacher that the student was in the classroom, because you have had a big schools, 1,000 students. So the parents actually can follow online was the child in the classroom. And of course we can send feedback and the parents can, but this is about the cooperation with the parents. I personally, the last years when I want, for example, if I have statistics, they collected the students the data, then they draw from the first in the paper the bar diagrams, but then I wanted that they can learn it with Excel. Then we use as long as I remember, we have had some small computers. But the new generation is using more, because now they have the smart boards. So they can pick about YouTube, Khan Academy, show a part. But if I look Khan Academy and I look my teaching, which one you think is better? So maybe in chemistry, in physics, I could find something which is filling what I'm doing, of course. But what I'm afraid, when I was visiting in Moscow, they were talking about computers all the time, computers, and this was before COVID. But now, if you think about the COVID, I think everybody understand that the computers and the games, they are only a tiny part of the learning. They are a nice part when you use them cleverly in the right time. But most best way to teach them creativity is that we are working together. They are sharing their knowledge. They are using their own math language or any subject language. I think that's powerful way to be analytical, like Max said, that reflect. If you are sitting on the computer and they are not so clever yet. They are not so clever yet. They are maybe very fancy, but they are not so clever.
I have a comment here with a question and then another one. This one is from Sergio. He's the president of the Finnish Chamber of Commerce in Brazil. So he's in contact with Finns very often. And then he brought a comment considering the new generation of Finns who have traveled abroad. And then he asks you, are the Finns still silent? I have been noticed such a huge change with the youngsters that travel abroad.
I think the new generation is not so silent, but of course they are carrying the heavy inheritance. So maybe you will still find also silent people. They said many that I am not typical Finnish one, but actually if I enjoy like today to walk alone in the sea, just the nature and me. Even there were hundreds of people, so I don't have the need to go to talk with somebody. And I think also if the Finnish people are talking, they are talking the other one first and then the other one. But if I compare some other countries, they are talking at the same time. And I think we think it's very, very rare.
Mm-hmm. I have another one. This one is a very interesting question from Thiago Braga. I like math, but lots of people don't. So how do you teach math to people that don't like it so much?
Mm. That's why math is my passion. I try to change the math education, but it really is hard. Somehow everybody wants to keep the system even they hate it. Maybe I have to say that I have been responsible mostly of my student, and most of the students, they don't hate it. I think most of them like it because they have seen how differently math can be used and how important it can be for them. For example, one very interesting project which I developed with the Finnish Red Cross was about the refugee camp. And this is I get the real information from Red Cross. So some years ago, there was a 1,020,000 refugees who went in Africa to another country. And the Red Cross have to arrange camps where they put such a huge amount of people. So they arranged 11 huge camps. So we got the number of the people, where the camps were, how many people there are, how many drugs they have so that they can deliver the food, what is the minimum amount of food that they survive these 2 weeks. And my students, 9th graders, they were counting about this, how much food they have to deliver, how they rearrange the big cars so that the people are surviving. So this is the real math. It's the math they are interested because this is the problems they have to solve. So why to teach very high level mathematics, which most don't understand? Why actually there is not much math in the basic school, and still in many places they hate it. But they hate it because it's not the reason of the math. It's the reason how it's taught and no connection to the real life and the pedagogy. And this is why I'm talking now with Max. I hope that people get interested. I'm training teachers around the world, and actually I have developed with the Finnish teachers Paths to Math, where you can sign up and see some free material. And it's a hard work, but I think the world is changing. And also, if I think about Finland, when I was in school, I think I had only one teacher who was really good, who understand active learning, who understand the mind of the student. And now I think in Finland there are also, here we have teachers who are developing themselves, because the change from this, I give you the information instead that they are thinking the information, it's a huge. Even the researchers have known this. I think from the you find literature from the 1970s or even earlier. They have known this, but this behavioristic way, like in the industry, put the students in the corridor, other sides, and give the information. This is not anymore the way of today, but this is used in most part of the world. So
I have a question for you now, Maarit. I'm wondering then why you chose to become a teacher, and specifically a math teacher. So back there years ago,
very
why was
interesting, very interesting question. My dream was to become an art teacher, but I noticed that I'm not talented enough. And then I'm somehow, how I would say, I'm very realistic person. And my mother taught us that you have to be independent always, because my mother was married twice, and she was the person who supported the family. So it was very important for her that we educate ourselves. And then I thought that, I have to have such a occupation that I will get money. So I would have wanted to become an artist, but then I thought that, okay, I go to the university, I don't choose languages, I don't choose, okay, I will choose math, because I think that will be opening me. Then I went a school summer camp, and I met ready teachers, and I was like an assistant there. And I noticed how they played with the children, and I thought this is quite nice. So it came little by little that I noticed that children and mathematics, and mathematics was not easy for me. So I'm also interested how to make it understandable. So that's how I have developed myself, that I feel myself more a pedagogy of mathematics than a mathematician. I didn't come artist, but I paint. It's a hobby.
uh, it's lovely to have uh, art and education. We have planned somehow around 22 minutes. I'm waiting here for some more questions, and let me think. Being creative, like innovative here. So I was thinking about math, but it could be something else. So let's say something you have learned about it. It could be math, or could be something else that that you would like to teach, like these people that are watching us, but there'll be more people watching us later. So maybe you could use this opportunity to teach us something that we don't learn in schools, but you think humans should learn.
Sorry, I think I need some
Water? Sure, sure. I'll wait a little bit. Yeah, being in front of the computer for too long, it stresses a bit. She's coming back soon. I have a comment here from Jin Jin.
I'm sorry. I have to take
That's
something to
fine.
mouth. So what was your
Okay.
question?
I was wondering if there is something that you think it should be taught in school, but then we are teaching so many other things, and we don't teach something that's really relevant. And then I feel that in Finland, yes, there is this freedom, and then something that you think is really, really meaningful, you can teach, but sometimes not. Right? So, what's something that's really, really meaningful to teach in schools besides subjects?
When I started a principal, what I noticed, I think schools can be different also. But what I noticed that, and also nowadays in the curriculum, in Finnish, it's reading that the student has to take part more about what's happening in the school. So they have clubs. They can be sport clubs, but they have be a group selected students, and they will meet now and then with selected some teachers, and they want to develop their environment of the school. Maybe they are saying that our break area is not good enough. And nowadays also when they are planning something program of the year, I think they are more involving students. I think that's one of their success, how well students feel that it's their school. It's not the place where teachers come to teach something and go home. It's a place where they feel that it's their school. What I develop for the 9th graders, and I have been very lucky when I have traveled a lot in the world. I looked one place in England, and then also I looked some ideas from America, for example, and I put it in my school. And one idea was that I want to appreciate the students. For example, you can appreciate your students so that you put the works on the corridors. In some countries, I have seen now nothing from the students in the school. So how the school looks like is also how you respect the students. And I developed 9th graders dancing. So they are the last class. And together with the teachers in their curriculum program, in their home subject where they are cooking, the 8th graders were servant in their cafeteria. The staff in the cafeteria planned very nice lunch with their starters and main food and desserts. And the home class teaches the 8th graders how you serve the food on the table. And the teachers who were doing textile, they make with the dancing dress. And the sport teachers practice the dances. So actually the last week, the other stopped the school earlier because it was the celebration of the 9th graders. And when I started this, they said that it's impossible. You can't do it. They behave not well. They are not behaving well. But of course they behaved because you showed the respect. And at the same time, I teach them how to eat nicely I said that it was the biggest restaurant in the Helsinki area because I had 200 9th graders. So I think I can't say only what is important. Math is not, it's one subject. I think maybe their own language is even more important. But the most important is, what is the school for the students? And actually, if there is their school, they also want to learn. Maybe that would be my answer.
Amazing. Lovely. I have a question from Jinxing now. Interdisciplinary learning and phenomenal learning are kind of overlapping each other, and the latter has become popular in Finland. So, how it really works in Finnish schools?
Very good question. Actually, this is now including in the curriculum, and it means that every school have to plan some phenomenal-based learning theme in the school twice a year. It can be, some schools are very good in that. They can make 2 weeks. Some schools are practicing maybe 1 day. So it is on the process. And if you were there when I told about this refugee camp, it was actually quite good example what you can do even in the math, because they were using maps where their camps were. They were counting about the energy and calories of the food. So it was connected to the biology, geology, and mathematics. So you can actually start this kind of things inside the subject and cooperate with others. And I think that this is the way how they have learned, because I think I have been so long a teacher and a principal that I have been living over 3 curriculum change. And in every curriculum we have really tried to push this idea that there are some bigger themes, and it has been very difficult. Partly it can be because of the timetables. So that's why I think this is now that the last curriculum they made it, that it has to be done in every school. So now if it's the whole school is working, so there is no timetable barriers. But of course, it's a huge planning for the teachers. And it means maybe that some classes are covering a certain parts of the thing and some not everybody. But I think it's very demanding, but again it is developing also the teamwork of the all teachers. So we are learning.
Good. Lifelong learning, even for teachers, and especially for teachers, right?
Yes, and I think that in the very beginning, the world get a wrong news that everything that the Finland has throw all the subjects away. That was a wrong fake news. That was a fake news. We are doing it, but not all the time.
So one way to say, like, if make it simple, something that's very complex, but make it simple for any school to do phenomenon-based learning, is you choose one day, and then all the teachers are there, all the kids are there, but there's no timetable, and then everybody has to work somehow together, and then you choose a theme, and you cover that theme from all perspectives. It's complicated, really well. It needs to be planned in advance. I guess there's very interesting. That's a multi-age, right? It's not all the classes, like all the students. So it can be older kids with younger kids together, and then just make it like it's one day at least.
Yes, it's a
If
good
they
start.
and then they make it more days during the calendar of the year, right?
Yes, it's a very good start, and always when you make some change, when the students see that you are really doing it for them, and if it goes not so well, they respect and they appreciate it. So they will wait the next time that it goes better. So you don't have ever to be afraid of the action of the students. They are very supportive when they understand that now teacher is trying to do something nice and new for us.
Here comes some very interesting question, very complex from Sergio. And I think you could answer this question two ways. I'm guiding before bringing the question. In a more theoretical way, that's very broad, and then more specific, how it really can be done, examples that really can be done. Then I'll bring the question. It's this one. Do you believe, Maarit, that the education of Finland can be used, adapt to other countries with big populations, such as Brazil, India, Mexico?
That was really good question. Actually, I have studied quite a lot research of last weeks, because people are now thinking how we manage after the corona, this COVID. And I was so surprised what I read. There are some researchers who wrote that even there are countries which have public and private schools together, this complex system, they think that the only way to somehow recover and catch up is that in every village and city there would be in the middle a public school serving other schools. And how it would serve, it would be telling how to use technology, how to learn also outside the school, how to be connected to the industry, how to... And when I was reading it, it was reading like the Finnish school system. So it was reading like that, put every places in the middle of the village, one public school which looked like a Finnish school, and it will be the center helping and advising others. I was really astonished when I read it, because it was like reading this. I think what we think that we have to have a learning centers. In here it means that the learning center is open when the students are leaving. It's open for the whole village. So there are evening schools, there are activities. So it was something this like come to my mind. I think you can do something, because like I told you, it can't be so that even it's a big country that it can develop the pedagogy. Even it's a big country, it can develop to look how the teachers can work so that they feel respected. Maybe the autonomy is very important. I have been really in some countries that the teachers, even they have been teaching 10 years, they do teaching plans still. So you are taking energy out of them. How you would feel in your work if you would have to make something that you have done in the first years and still you continue? It's stupidity. I don't know what is the situation in every country, but I think we can't copy the whole thing. No, because we have free public education, but there are parts which are good. Like I told you, I was copying something from UK. What I copied from America when I had my Fulbright, it was that there was learning walks for the teachers. And it means that it was a group of math teachers. They were engineers, and they retraining to become a math teacher. So the trainer took them in the back of the classroom, and then in advance he said to the teacher that now they are looking more how the girls and boys are answering. to the math. And I changed the idea to my school because I was a new principal, that I said that you can choose any subject, go in back of the classroom and look how your colleagues are teaching. And of course they went to look the best teachers' classes. So they learned from the different teachers, different learning styles and teaching styles. And I copied it from United States. So I think it's very clever to every country to look what suits to your culture and develop, of course. Everybody wants to be developing own country.
Very nice to hear this. We are approaching the end, and then we have some exercises here. We might overlap a bit the 8:30 p.m. there, 3:30 p.m. here in Brazil. This point you mentioned, it came to my mind, this opportunity I had to do my master's in Finland and get in touch and have the experience here already. I got in love. Let's say I got in love with the Finnish society and the Finnish education, and I really try to do this very often here in Brazil. And I'm sure my colleagues that are here watching as well, Jinjin, Georgiana, and other people who have studied in Finland, they are doing this in different levels, right, of complexity. And then some are really simple, like this. Please bring the students to teach outside the classroom, right? The real world. So this is really simple. A teacher just needs to hear this once, understands that she can do that, and or he and should do it, right? And then there are different levels of complexity. And I like the example you gave, like bring one school in the center of the village, be an example, and it's very collaborative with the other ones. But then we're going to do an exercise of learning here. Since we're talking about learning a lot. So I'm going to post our website. It's going to take some time for you guys to see. It's Mentimeter. And then the people who are watching here, the 13 people still watching it live, is to write there what you have learned in this experience. What surprised you? What was the most significant aspect that you have learned in this experience? You can do this by clicking this website, or you can go to this website, Menti, and type the code and type, I'm going to write this, 862. And then you guys write what you have learned in this experience. I need to go there and change. And then you can start already your final remarks, Maarit. Maybe there is something that you wanted to say and didn't say yet, or you bring your final remarks and greeting people, thanking people.
I'm very, very happy that I have this opportunity. And I really missed Brazil because I was there. I missed there. Max, you were so kind and friendly for me. I would love to come one day again. Thank you very much, and be positive. We will overcome over this pandemic. Thank you.
People are still typing there, Maarit, what they have learned. So you can type there in the menti.com, or you can also type here chat if you like. So I'll start a greeting as well and thanking. So thank you, Maarit, very much. I'm very pleased you accepted the invitation to share your experiences, your knowledge, your time. It's amazing, really, that when we find a teacher that has so much passion and hope to change things and inspires me. So you, as Finland inspired me, you also inspire me very much to continue to do what we are doing. So thank you, and of course you will be hopefully in person, so I can bring you to visit more places in Brazil. This time you came, you couldn't see the amazing things that we have here. maybe the Foz do Iguaçu, the amazing waterfall, or Rio de Janeiro is lovely. There's some place here in Brazil that's beautiful. The water is so clean, so clean. It's transparent. It's called bonito. It means beautiful in Portuguese. Um, 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 Lots of amazing things. And we humans, we adapt, right? Actually, this is Carnival. Everybody knows Brazil because of Carnival. And nowadays, you don't have Carnival because of the isolation. And then there's some Brazilians who are learning about math in Carnival.
That's the
I would
carnival.
never guess. I would never guess that this would happen if someone asked me years ago. Okay, let me see some stuff there already. If not, I will have later, and then I'll post on
Post me.
LinkedIn. Okay, because I'm sure after 1 hour and a half in front of the screen, we get really, really tired. And then people are thanking you here, like, thank you so much. Thanks, Maarit.
Bye.
Everybody is really pleased. Everything you did. Thank you, Maarit. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Moi, moi. Okay, everyone, then thank you very much for everybody who watched until this point. Wish you guys a nice carnival who's in Brazil and who is abroad. Very nice weekend. And I'm happy that this worked very well this time. And we're going to do more like this soon. In a few days, I'm going to bring some very interesting news about my connection with Finland. And then we're going to do a lot of this more often. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you very much for being with us until now. Yes, and Thomas asked, it's recorded. So it's in the AprenDi's YouTube channel. People will be able to watch. And then we try to also subtitle it in Portuguese so people who don't speak English can also have contact with everything that Maarit shared with us.